Gilas loses its fourth straight game. How do we fix it? What can we do moving forward? We're talking about that and more in this episode.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Boleros. Sam here with the Sultan of Sando, Mr. Gab Lim, and Maui Yap. What's up, guys? Welcome back, Gab. Old school ng jersey na yan. Parang alam ko yung Ateneo jersey niya. Parang pang-elementary pa yan, Gab.
2000s, the 2000s style jersey.
Grabe.
Enrico Villanueva.
Oo nga eh. Wesley Gonzalez.
Nilalabas mo age natin.
Gablim to. Gablim.
Gablim jersey pala to. 13,
Gablim
no?
jersey to.
Nilalabas mo age natin, bro.
Oo nga. Ganyan nga. Tama ka, Maui. I had that jersey. Ganyan nga yung mga Enrico Villanueva jerseys. Anyway, speaking of jerseys, Gilas has a new jersey sponsor. But we're going to talk about Gilas' game against New Zealand today. Not a good game. Sabi mo nga sa intro, Gab. Gilas lost its fourth straight game. So, I know you guys have a bunch of feelings. Why don't we start with you this time, Maui? I know hindi mo din napanood the whole game, I think, but you have anong feelings mo after like watching that game?
Siguro ang okay din is it took a few days na bago tayo mag-record nito. So siguro mas marami
May post-processing.
May post-processing
yung immediate yung hindi lang yung immediate sadness and
anger
na naramdaman natin. And anger. Maui, go ahead.
I think we've been plagued by yung initial reaction ko is siyempre malungkot, di ba? Lahat naman tayo heavily invested sa Gilas. I would say outside of Ateneo, it's probably the second team I'm most invested at. Diba? I want them to succeed. We cry when they succeed. We cry also when they falter. Diba? Unfortunately, after that very high first window versus New Zealand in Taipei, we now are faced with 2 straight losses in FIBA. And if you count even the Dubai tournament, that's 4 losses, right?
Doha, Maui, Doha.
Sorry, in Doha. That's 4 straight losses for Gilas. And the next tournament is gonna be the FIBA Asia Cup. We've been talking about this off-air kanina. I mentioned that this does not have an effect on our future prospects with regards to the Olympics or the World Cup. It's a different tournament altogether. I think FIBA rankings lang ang counted here in this tournament. Maybe in the draws for succeeding tournaments, this could be used. We've been plagued by the same problems, I would say. After watching this game, I watched the highlights actually after then multiple times, and you can see where we struggle the most, diba? Guarding the perimeter. And it boils down to stopping dribble penetration, stopping the pick and roll. Teams have been able to break down our defense easily. I think yung center ng New Zealand had 3 3-pointers nung first quarter pa lang alone.
4.
4. Apat. Yeah.
4 out of that's 4 out of 6 of what they made nung first quarter. It's pretty hard to beat teams, diba? When you don't shoot a lot of threes and you get burned by a lot of threes. Diba? I think we really struggle with our defensive schemes and coverage. Sayang kasi it was this game was winnable in my opinion, diba? When you saw them climb back from that huge deficit, you know that we have the capacity, we have the talent to compete. Scotty Thompson struggling against New Zealand is concerning for me. If you remember before, in the World Cup, he struggled mightily against higher seeded teams. But during the first window, he was, I would say, decent nung game here in the Philippines. I don't know if he was energized because it was in the Philippines. Everyone was hyped that Scotty Thompson was playing. But 2 very miserable games. I think he shot 0-for-7 or 0-for-8 this game. 1-for-15 in the 2 games versus Chinese Taipei and New Zealand. I think that's very concerning for a point guard that plays close to 30 minutes a game for us, diba? I actually told you guys this off air. I was leaning towards Chris Newsome potentially playing more minutes with this iteration of Gilas, 'di ba? Kasi when we lost Kai Soto, we lost a lot of playmaking, we lost a lot of we lost basically an offensive hub. Somebody who could create his own shot, somebody could create at the high post where he could find shooters, he could find slashers. Somebody basically to help Justin Brownlee take some sort of breather, di ba? And I think that was prevalent ng second half, di ba? During this game against New Zealand. Chris Newsome was just basically a lot better than Scotty Thompson during this game. And I think that moving forward, if we proceed with this type of iteration, I expect him to play more minutes, similar to how he played minutes during that last chance qualifiers during the Olympics that we really did pretty well. Those were some of my initial thoughts.
Gab, anong na-feel mo after watching that game?
First of all, I was not able to watch this live. I was on vacation. I was at the beach.
Out of town.
And I was island hopping. But I was sad. The moment I landed, we got to land and I messaged Sammy and Maui. What happened? Ano nangyari sa...
Kala mo nanalo no? Tinanong mo panalo ba?
Tapos biglang, tambak. So like, so siyempre, I had to rewatch this game. But just one point, and I know we'll get some comments like this. We always do. Yung mga tipong, suportahan nyo na lang ang Gilas, yung wag na kayo magreklamo, yung wag nyo na yung wag na kayo mag-point out, suporta na lang tayo, yung nagsasakripisyo naman yung mga player na yan. Yes, nagsasacrifice sila, but they get paid for doing this. You know, they get paid a ton of money to do this. And why do they get paid? And bakit sila nababayaran ng marami? Ba't ang dami nilang sponsor, mga private companies who sponsor them and give money to this program? Because tayong Pilipino nanonood. Kung walang nanonood ng basketball, walang maglalagay ng sponsor dyan. Diba? So, yes, pwede tayo mag-criticize ng basketball team natin. Please lang. Don't give us the argument na suporta na lang yung wag natin pagdudahan. We can recommend, we can comment, we can share our opinion of it. It does not mean that we don't love Gilas. Okay? I know there's going to be one or two or even five people who are going to say that kind of thing. It really irritates me when someone says that. Parang, kaya silang may ganitong attention at pera because nanonood tayo. Diba? If we don't watch, if we don't support, if we don't pay attention, they don't get that money. So yes, we do have the right to share our opinion of it. So yun lang. I just wanted to get that off my chest because I saw a lot of it. I saw a lot of it when nag-post na tambak ang Gilas, and there was a lot of criticism, and there was a lot of replies din na ganon. So yun lang. Sammy, you're saying something.
Well, actually I just wanted to add. Kahit naman hindi sila paid well or whatever. I think it's okay to criticize, but we're also still very supportive. We watch the games, we cheer for them. So, we're just sharing yung criticisms natin, but we're still, no matter what, at the end of the day, we're still going to support Gilas. We're still going to support whatever decisions they do, they make. Syempre, we'll still cheer for them or support them. So, we're criticizing, but we're also being supportive. Yun lang yung I just wanna add. It's not like pure haters tayo. We hate Gilas. We hate Coach Tim Conner. Wala namang ganun eh. Wala naman tayong sinasabing ganun eh, di ba?
Pero okay lang mag-comment. So, yun lang. I just wanted to get that off my chest before I comment on the game. So, let's go to the game. Okay, I know a lot of people will focus on the offensive side of the floor where we got outshot from three. Justin Brownlee was marked. You know, he was heavily scouted. They knew where he was going. They knew that they had to trap him. I think he scored 8 of his points in the first quarter. Scored a layup, I think, in the fourth quarter, and that was his only 2 points for the rest of the game. So he was obviously, I think the New Zealand coach said it in his post-game interview that they know that where Justin Brownlee goes, that's where Gilas goes. So obviously they knew that. They saw the game against Chinese Taipei. And if Justin Brownlee is on, Gilas is on. Okay, so I know a lot of attention will go to the offensive side of the floor, but these past 4 games on this losing streak, what's been more apparent to me is that we have to fix our defense. Talagang the defense is very problematic. How many open threes are we gonna allow? Honestly, as a team, they came in with kudos to New Zealand. They came with a very specific plan. They knew that Junmar was gonna play minutes, and they knew that Junmar was not comfortable on the perimeter, and so their center is Smith Milner kept on bombing away from the outside because he knew that Junmar was not gonna close out on his shot, and he kept on bombing away, and they knew that their ball screen defense, whether it was off ball screens or on ball screens, they were not gonna switch or they were just gonna drop. And they took advantage of that. And my goodness, how many open threes did New Zealand have throughout this entire game? It's a miracle they made only 13. If you remember their game, kayong dalawa, diba? If you remember their game here in Mo Arena, they shot 50% from 3 in the first half. That's how hot they are. That's how they like to play. That's how New Zealand really likes to play. They shoot a ton of threes. And we can't give so many open threes. I said it after the Chinese Taipei game. Someone has to devise a way to stop their on-screen actions, their off-ball actions. They ran in the first quarter, I think, they ran a staggered screen for Webster from the corner baseline over and over again, and he got open look after open look. Where is the adjustment? Diba? At some point, you have to show or blitz and not allow those open looks. It's just frustrating. And throughout the entire game, New Zealand just got open shot after open shot. This Gilas team has ang daming miscommunication on defense. That's what I saw. There was a pick and roll where Dwight and Junmar went to the ball and then left Smith Milner open. They were just not communicating on ball screens. When they're rotating, they're slow. Nakita yung age ng Gilas when New Zealand yung rotates the ball, they cannot recover. They're very slow-footed compared to the ball compared to New Zealand. And if the perimeter is not stopping drives to the basket, what are we stopping? That's how you count. I think you can count with 2 hands just how many mid-range shots that New Zealand took. They took mostly threes and mostly shots in the paint. Diba? And you compare that to
modern basketball.
Yeah, and you compare it to Gilas. A lot of mid-range shots, a lot of they could barely get anything in the paint. New Zealand knew this. They were crowding in the paint, and we couldn't get our threes to go. They had 13 threes compared to our 6, so they doubled us up. And again, wide open looks. You can't give that. The defense just has to be better. We can't. I know people are gonna say na wala si Kai, diba? He's a big part of our defense and our offense. But come on, we can't just rely on one person. We're too talented for that. Wala si Kai for at least a year. What, we're gonna say this
at least a year, yeah.
Oh, yung until next year, we're gonna say this. Okay lang matalo, yung wala naman si Kai. Ganyan talaga, wala si Kai. We're too good for that. We have too many good players to rely on just one. So, a lot of Gilas' mistakes and faults are correctable, in my opinion, especially on the defensive end. The defensive end really stands out. New Zealand scored 30 in the first quarter. I mean, at some point, Coach Tim and the coaching staff, you have to adjust your defense. You cannot protect the paint every single time. That's not how modern basketball is played. Modern basketball is played on the perimeter. And it showed. Another thing, and Maui, you pointed this out in our chat, no? One of the downsides with keeping a pool na konti lang, a very compact pool, and playing the same players over and over again for different windows, is we get scouted a lot. We get scouted, our plays get scouted. So obviously, I mentioned si Justin Brownlee. They knew where to trap Justin Brownlee, where to double Justin Brownlee, where to force Justin Brownlee to dribble. They knew all that. Heavily scouted. I think that there was one timeout where the coach of New Zealand was caught saying, if Brownlee moves here, you double from this side. When Brownlee asks for a pick and you on the perimeter, you blitz. They know already what Justin Brownlee is gonna do. Plus, they know already that Scottie Thompson is not comfortable shooting from the outside. They sagged off Scottie. They were not even minding Scottie from the outside. They were comfortable. They were, for those who watched the UAP, they were bringing that Sean Kiteves defense to Scottie Thompson.
Sean Kiteves catching some strays here tonight. I'm sorry, Sean.
Sorry, SQ.
I'm sorry.
But yeah, they were not guarding Scottie. Si Chris Newsom in the fourth quarter, they were sagging off of him. They knew he's a mid-range shooter, so they weren't guarding him on the perimeter. Heavily scouted na ang Gilas. It was pretty obvious. New Zealand knows the tendencies of each player because they've been playing this same lineup over and over again. And you contrast that with the two teams that we just played. Chinese Taipei just had a totally different lineup. New Zealand nearly
Both teams changed it up, mixed it up.
New Zealand almost an entirely different lineup, diba? And with that, it's tough to scout guys. It's tough to scout guys like Smith Milner, who knew that he was such a sharpshooter, diba?
Parang si Bogdanovic lang nung unang window. Na-shock lahat.
Wala nga siya eh.
Diba? So when you bring in fresh faces, when you bring in guys who have not been heavily scouted, you're able to pull out some new tricks. Again,
it's a good point.
I know a lot of people have been clamoring for expanding the pool, and this is one of the benefits for expanding the pool and playing different players, is that you give teams new looks. You give teams guys that they haven't heavily scouted, diba? I know a lot of people are gonna comment na it takes time to integrate guys into the system, ganon, of Coach Tim. That's why he likes to keep the players close to his chest. He likes his homegrown guys. If that's the case, we're excluding so many of our other talented players. And I'm sorry, but if you're Coach Tim, you have to have the patience to teach other players and younger players. Diba? That just has to be. You can't be the national team coach and just play your selected few. It's just not sustainable. You can't just play Ginebra, guys. And to my point, yung mga main guys are not even the Ginebra guys. See, Dwight Ramos plays a ton of minutes and he's not from Ginebra. AJ Edu plays so well, is very key to our defense, and he's not from Ginebra. So
Newsom.
Si Chris Newsom, he plays for Meralco. He's not from Ginebra. He doesn't play the triangle offense. So I don't understand why we're excluding guys who don't play the triangle offense. Why the excuse is always it's hard to integrate them into Coach Tim's system when the guys who are familiar, who are playing a ton of minutes, are not from Coach Tim's system. So obviously it can be taught. So yeah, there's a lot of things that we have to address until the FIBA Asia Cup. We can't just keep on having the excuse that Kai Soto is not there. It can't just be about Kai Soto. It can't just be. Sammy, Maui.
Hindi, tsaka swerte tayo. If you think about it, swerte tayo, di ba? Throughout the past year or so, mostly si Kai Soto lang and maybe you could say si Scotty Thompson ang na-injure, di ba? We're not talking about a lineup that's 25 and below, di ba? We have a lot of vets, di ba? Japet Aguilar is, I would say, for closing on father time at 40 years old. Junmar, as you see, is very old. Even Brownlee, di ba? We don't know how long Brownlee can stay at the top of the helm, di ba? I mean, we have to integrate players eventually, di ba? If Tim Cone is gonna be the person to coach this team or run this program, di ba?
Yeah, that's a good point. And I think siguro yun yung isang selling point for Coach Tim Cone to really consider expanding the pool din. Kasi alam naman natin si Coach Tim Cone is a very strategic guy. He plans ahead. Even yung when he was interviewed, why did you decide to do the Doha tournament knowing na you'll get fatigued with your upcoming tournament? Sabi niya, it's all part of the plan. It's all part of the long-term plan in preparation for our upcoming Asia Cup competition. We have to, like, somebody has to tell Coach Tim Cone, up to this number of years na lang yung lineup na to, di ba? Because as Maui mentioned, medyo may edad na rin yung some of our stars. So, when do we start planning or preparing for like that next set of group? I know like guys like Kai Soto and Dwight Ramos are going to be part of that probably longer term team, but we need to add more guys, obviously. Hopefully maka-retire na si Japet. Again, we keep saying this, like,
Kudos to Japet though. He played
who had good
great
blocks,
few
who had,
minutes.
yeah. He scored a couple of points, had a good couple of defensive plays, pero I think Japet really wants to retire. Hindi lang siya makano kay Coach Tim Cone. You know, he's very loyal to Coach Tim Cone also. So, yun, I think that's one of the selling points eh. Kasi at the very start of this Gilas program, when Coach Tim Cone took over this program, he really said this eh. Sabi niya, I'm going to have a short team or small team and I'm going to focus on that team all the way to, ano nga ba yung, I think the Olympics, di ba? Yung timeline niya for this team. But we're not there yet. But I think right now, the clamor is very strong for Coach Tim Cone to add even just a few players. We're not talking about revamping the lineup. We're not asking him to change the entire lineup. Maybe just add like a couple of guys, diba?
Tsaka just to comment lang Sam on that timeline of Coach Tim, 'di ba? Yung we'll have the same lineup till the Olympics. Justin Brownlee will be 39 years old come the Olympics, 'di ba? Si Japet is gonna be what? 42 or 43 years old come the Olympics. Junmar is gonna be late 30s.
Si Asi Taulava, yung ginagaya niya.
Asi
Diba?
levels.
Asi.
'Di ba? We have to integrate guys. I think si Cambao and Tamayo deserves more minutes. 'Di ba? We have to be more forward looking, especially since we actually had that advantage of having non-bearing games. 'Di ba? These last two games.
Yes.
That's where I'm a bit disappointed that we didn't get to see Carl Tamayo or maybe Kevin Cambao play 15 to 20 minutes. I don't know. We won't face a lot of teams like Hong Kong. Diba? We won't face a lot of teams who are not perennial talents in Asia. Remember, FIBA Asia is now also now includes Oceania teams. So that means New Zealand, Australia, and then you put in China, you put in Japan. I mean, most of our games are going to be must-win games. Most of our games are going to be against teams that we need to beat to eventually get to the Olympics. So, I don't know. it's a bit crazy. Diba? When you think about it, in essence, si Brownlee is going to be 39 years old. I think we should prepare eventually for something.
Yeah,
We don't
that's
know.
a good point.
We don't know what's going to happen.
Exactly. That's true, Maui. And that's a good point, no? Kasi yun yung isa sa mga points that I wanted to raise then was, siguro, yung win or losing the game, like, I wasn't as disappointed because, sabi mo nga, Maui, it's a non-bearing game. It wasn't that important or crucial for us to win. What I was hoping to see, like what you said, was Carl Tamayo, Kevin Cambao, the young guys get to play more. And I think KQ started, diba? Or KQ did play a few
He started.
initially. He started for the team. So that sort of gave me hope. Pero hindi din eh. Even si Carl Tamayo didn't get to play. That's one of the things or criticisms that I do have. Kasi tama ka, Maui, yun yung point eh. It's these are non-bearing games, and I was really expecting to see a lot more of these two guys. I think even Coach Tim Cohn said that. Nasabi niya he would play KQ and Carl more minutes because of all the injuries, because of the fatigue. So that was one of the things that disappointed me the most. More than the loss is not being able to see these guys get more minutes. And I do understand there were a lot of times in the past where Carl Tapayo frustrated Coach Tim Cohn with his plays, but you let him play. Let him play, let him get the experience. I don't think fake yung performance ni Carl Tamayo sa league niya, 'di ba? Like him getting like a MVP for the week or some best player of the week. I think legit naman yun. So I think he needs to play. He needs to get that experience. It's the same thing we said about Chris Newsome before, way back when he started out. He was turnover prone. He wasn't this level of Chris Newsome before, diba? The killer that we know now. So I think they do need to get experience. The second thing that I do want to point out is one of the things that Coach Tim Cohn highlighted, although hindi naman niya sinabi to as an excuse, was he understands na medyo napagod din yung team because of all the competitions or the games that they played in the past few days.
Ayaw mag-adjust ng PB.
Yun, I was going to get there. Sabi ni Coach Tim Cohn, he did this in preparation for the Asia Cup where they will have a very, very short window again to train and work together. I'm like, what the hell? Hanggang ngayon pa rin ba? Ganun pa rin yung magiging problema ng Gilas na hindi mag-a-adjust yung local league natin to give our Philippine team, the Gilas team, enough time to prepare for international competition? Hanggang ngayon, 2025 na, guys. Hindi na dapat ganun. I mean, this is our best chance. You can see all the guys, Justin Brownlee, they were all so tired. They were all so fatigued after playing those games. They need to prepare. They need their rest and they need time together to prepare. So, come on, guys. Come on, PBA, SBP, whoever is organizing this. You guys need to talk to each other and make sure you give Coach Tim and the players enough time to work together, to rest, to prepare for the Asia Cup qualifiers or for the Asia Cup.
Talo pa.
Oo. We still think that we're the USA eh.
Talo pa natin USA, bro. USA 2 to 3 weeks, di ba tayo? 7 to 10 days pa, sabi ni Coach Tim.
That's
crazy.
That is crazy. What the hell? Yeah, it's a pretty good point, Sammy, yung preparation time. I guess that's why yung Coach Tim decided to have a very short pool, di ba? Kasi short yung preparation time, so he doesn't have to teach more. He just keeps the same core of players. And I think, knock to the PBA, to the SBP, obviously it's not working anymore. As I said, teams are scouting us more. They know our players already. They know our main guys. And also to Coach Tim, if you know your players are pretty tired already or have been playing a ton of games, don't play them Tom Thibodeau minutes, Justin Brownlee and Scotty Thompson and Dwight Ramos. I mean, you can't use your bench.
Minutes.
Diba? Tom Thibodeau-esque yung pag minutes niya. This is also one of the things that I laughed at when they lost to Chinese Taipei. Someone said, okay lang, you don't panic. It's a non-bearing game. It's a plan by Coach Tim Cohn. Really? 38 minutes yung nilaro ni Justin Brownlee sa ni Scotty Thompson at yung Dwight Ramos. Yun ang strategy niya.
He wanted to win that game. He wanted to win
that game. Come on. He wanted to win that game. He wanted to win this game. But again, if you're pointing out that the short time to prepare and they have been through a ton of games, don't play your starting five or your main five 35 plus minutes. Use more of your bench. you look at that. Justin Brownlee played 34 minutes in this game after playing 38 against Chinese Taipei. Listen, I see how
Bumiyahe pa
good-
yan, di ba? Lumipad from,
Oh.
from Taiwan to New Zealand.
I mean, I know how good Justin Brownlee is, and he's the Michael Jordan of the Philippines or something like that. But come on, there's a lot of miles on Justin Brownlee's legs, and this is not sustainable, especially if you're looking for him to play in the Olympics at age 39. Woo-wee! You can't keep on giving him those Tom Thibodeau type minutes. It's just not sustainable. And that leads to the problem that we said in the past episode. The fact that we're relying so much on Justin Brownlee for offense is kind of a red flag for this team. We cannot rely on Justin Brownlee alone for offense. That was our criticism of Coach Chot when he had Jordan Clarkson. We relied too much on Jordan Clarkson for offense. Diba? This is one of the reasons why we backed Coach Tim Cone and why a lot of Filipino fans backed Coach Tim Cone for coaching Gilas, because he knew it's a more equitable offense, and an offense that relies on sharing the basketball, cutting, off-ball screens, yung equal opportunity. But in these past couple of games, we're just relying on Justin Brownlee. So we've defaulted back to what Coach Chot was initially criticized for, that he's relying too much on our naturalized guy for everything, for every shot. Again, that's not the way we play. New Zealand said it. Wherever Justin Brownlee goes, we know where this team will go. And they devise their defense just to stop Justin Brownlee. And if we keep on relying on him, come FIBA Asia Cup, other teams will do the same thing. They will trap Justin Brownlee. They will force him to give up the ball. They will force others to make plays. And what then? Diba? So, again, this is not sustainable. We have to get more people involved. We have to get a deeper rotation. Coach Tim Cone, you have to trust your other guys. I'm sorry, but it's true. You have to trust your other guys. Kevin Kiambao and Carl Tamayo, you may be young, but they're not, they're not, mga scrubs. Hindi mo sa bano. Diba? They can't
That's
play.
true.
Yes, there's gonna be growing pains. I mean, of course, Carl Tamayo, it's been shouted at many times. There's gonna be growing pains, but you gotta trust your other guys more.
Maui, any last words?
Ako yun talaga, it all boils down to, I guess, yung shareholders, di ba? It's like a never-ending cycle, di ba? When we start losing, it boils down to that, di ba? It made me think. It makes sense. Maybe it's one of the reasons nga, tama si Gab, why Coach Tim really prefers to keep the pool very small, di ba? Kasi he has a very thin or a small room to work. Diba? I mean, getting 10 days to prepare for a tournament that you want to win, diba? To get higher FIBA rankings. I guess we're lucky that the format of FIBA right now is different windows, diba? So, but tama eh. We're really scouted. The tendencies of our players, they already know, diba? It's one of the reasons why our players are starting to struggle also, diba? It's no secret that si Scotty Thompson has probably had two of his worst games as a Gilas player the past 2 games, diba? And we just lost our biggest advantage with Kai Soto, diba? I know that can't be an excuse, but it's the reason why I think the triangle offense is also working. Diba? Kasi we get a lot of paint points. If you look at our game against New Zealand nung here in Manila, we almost had 50 paint points, diba? If you look at our games, the past few games, we've had 20 to 30 only paint points. But we shoot a ton of mid-range shots. Diba? It's 2025. Come on. It's 2025, man. If you look at the shot chart of the NBA and if you look at the shot chart of probably most of the teams in FIBA, not just in FIBA Asia, most teams are looking to score in the paint and score in the outside. Diba? If we want to use this type of offense, we just need better personnel, maybe. We can't rely on Kai Soto to be here. We don't know what will happen. Diba? When he comes back, will be happy. What if he suffers another injury? Diba? It's our players are old. Diba? Si Justin Brownlee, as Gab mentioned, I mentioned, it's gonna be 40 by the Olympics. Diba? We have, again, it all boils down to increasing the pool for me. Diba? A lot of problems can be solved by that. We'll have more versatility. Diba? I think teams, if you look at yung teams sa FIBA Asia, diba, if you watch all of the FIBA games, kahit yung games na ng Philippines, makikita mo from game to game, teams play different lineups, diba? I mean, Japan team was blown out by China by, I think, 50 points, and they sent their D team. Diba? They have a program, they have a plan in mind, diba? They're experimenting, maximizing those non-bearing games. We should be doing the same.
True.
For our young guns, diba? Kasi I don't know how we transition from this to the next batch of Gilas, diba? I mean, Brownlee can only play until so long, diba? I mean, he's gonna be 40 soon. And there's a lot of anecdote, there's a lot of history dictates that players who go to their late 30s and even turn 40 are not as reliable, both on that skill side and that health side, diba? Kasi conditioning is heavily affected. So yeah, hopefully we increase the pool. We try to look for other naturalized players. That's just the way to go, diba? We have different windows, diba? We've been lucky that we've had players healthy, but when you have an aging lineup, injuries will surely happen. Plus some of our young guns, diba? Like AJ Edu has been in and out of the lineup, so it's unpredictable. So it's really better if we have a lot of competent players ready to suit up. Diba? We don't need naman to play them diba? We can just Team USA as a select team. We can follow that same format, diba? We have a select team, they train with the main team, but we still send the main team if they're available. Diba? We don't have to really limit ourselves. At the end of the day, it's about the stakeholders really working at each other, diba? Kasi during the time of, it's ironic, tama si Gab, it's becoming like the Chot Reyes time, diba? During the time of Chot Reyes, most of the players in Gilas were from the MVP side. Now, most of the players that go to Gilas is SMB side naman. So hopefully we address that issue because, I don't know, until we do that, until we really have a united front, I don't think that we can be good sustainably. Diba? So we can be good in one window, then maybe suck in the next if we don't have a sustainable program.
Okay. That's it for today's episode.
Last na lang, Sammy. Shout out to our fellow Filipinos who showed up at the game.
Oo nga.
Oo nga.
Alam mo,
Grabe nga.
Once again, felt like a home game.
Yan,
Grabe
nalito
nga.
ako.
Kahit sa New Zealand.
Kahit sa New Zealand tsaka sa Chinese Taipei, akala ko talaga, lalo na yung sa New Zealand, akala ko home court natin. Sabi ko, dito ba to sa Pilipinas, yung game? Akala ko sa New Zealand. That was crazy. Shout out sa mga Pinoy. So, win or lose, nandiyan pa rin all-out supporta ng mga Pinoy. And if someone can turn things around or if someone knows how to turn things around, I think it's Coach Tim Cone, diba? We've seen him do this before, so we still believe in Coach Tim Cone. So hopefully, we do get to turn things around in time for the Asia Cup. And when we do this podcast again and we talk about Gilas' next game, hopefully we'll be talking about more wins. So that's it for today's episode. Comment down below your thoughts on the Gilas game or how you plan to fix it, your suggestions on how you want to fix it. Share with your friends, like, subscribe. We'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.